children, I'll tell you the news. Don't worry about the names or dates, you already know it's true. Your doctor hates your baby, the prime minister's a ghost, and all them folks are sailing here 'cause they're in love with boats. Superfoods can save us from all our evil sin. JFK and Elvis own a bar in Wisconsin. Vaccinations were created by the CIA to steal votes from Bernie Sanders and turn your babies gay. So click the link you think you'd like and get tooled for a fight against those lefty fascist communists who are leaning too far right.
Hi and welcome to Not Another Fake Newscast. I'm Paul.
And I'm Jerry.
And we're back.
Yeah.
Except if you just listened to our last episode that we put out not long after this one, not long before this one.
Yeah, so we're here with a roundup episode. We're going to be looking at the big stories in July 2019, I guess.
But first, if you want to get a hold of us, you can get us on Facebook and Twitter at PGMcast.
You can also find our website, www.notanotherfakenewscast.com. You can email us on info@notanotherfakenewscast.com.
Like many lunatics do. And you can, if you really like us, really like us, that's kind of sounded sexy there. You could...
I mean, I've got a semi.
Aye.
Automatic.
Yeah. No, you can go to patreon.com/PGMcast and you can donate to us and keep us with the lights on.
For as little as $1 a month.
Yeah, chuck in a buck. Yes, I'm fucking stealing that. I'm stealing it.
So yeah, nice to be back and chat away to yous. There's been quite a lot going on, I guess, since we last had the podcast, but the main bit of news, which is filling the airwaves at the moment, is the Tory leadership campaign, right?
I mean, it's a leadership campaign in the form that there's two people that we have no fucking say in whether or not they're going to be in charge of the country.
Are you not? Oh, is it? I thought you were too. Are you not in the Tory party?
Well, I mean, the secret's out, Jerry. I literally can imagine that there's people like of the party that I do donate to, just like, is he?
I mean, that would get you kicked out. Like Alistair Campbell.
Aye.
Not that he's a member of the Tory party, but he did sort of campaign on behalf of the Liberal Democrats in the last European elections, found himself booted out of the Labour Party. But that's by the by. So
by election?
Tory, yeah. Tory leadership
Yes.
campaign, we have we've narrowed it down to Hunt versus Johnson.
It's,
Johnson Hunt.
what is it?
Which is
something
a
or a
game
shit
that Johnson, that Boris likes to play.
It's the game that
Hunt the Johnson.
Hunt the Johnson. That's a game that he used to play with his uncle.
Whoa. There's quite a few wee narratives going on and about this at the minute. You've had the whole Boris getting reported and recorded by his neighbours for having a sort of domestic with his girlfriend Carrie Simmons.
Oh, you're not allowed to mention that. Remember, people are allowed to have domestics because that's literally that's the general consensus by a weird percentage of the population, which is it's totally fine for the soon-to-be Prime Minister to have a fucking raging argument, screaming and shouting to the point where your neighbours think that you're like fucking going to murder somebody and they phone the police.
Well, like, my understanding is that it's in a area of London that's quite well to do and therefore it's in an old building with thick fucking, I mean, so it's
people
neighbours
living inside.
it's neighbours like up and down, you know what I mean? It's not like next door.
Aye.
It's an apartment, but it's the people above them, right?
Aye.
And they were able to hear them shouting at each other through thick old Victorian walls, basically.
Boris, what do you think you're doing? Wibble-wobble.
Well, was he not? He was reported as shouting, "Get off my laptop!" Not like that. Get off my laptop! I imagine is more how it went.
I mean, but she was downloading viruses, so
She was probably checking out his porn history.
I mean, I imagine that's the only thing that's on Boris's laptop.
So that happened. I mean, there was a bit of an argument going on, on social media and stuff about whether it was appropriate for the neighbours to have passed on the recordings of the incident to the papers and for them to be published online. Then some of the other papers hit back, some of the right-wing papers, like the Telegraph, for example, who paid Boris Johnson £250,000 a year to write the occasional article for them.
I'd argue the guy's going to become the fucking Prime Minister and welcome to reality. Like, I mean, in the nicest possible way, the same way that fucking everything that's been done and said that Trump has fucking ever done gets pulled through I mean, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be by any manner of means, but because, like, you know, I mean, that gets all cast up, any recordings he's ever done. If the guy wants to be the Prime Minister, where's the problem here? His public
agree.
life.
I agree that it was probably in the public interest for that to be released. What's your opinion on the newspapers choosing to name the couple who had sold the recordings or passed the recordings on?
I mean, Boris was probably going to fucking work at it, right?
No, but I mean...
No, but what I mean is, like, Boris was going to work at it.
Right.
Because he's got an upstairs and downstairs neighbour, right? There's his two choices, right? And if they hadn't named him, Boris quite easily could name him in his fucking column anyway.
Okay, but would that have been morally questionable if he had done? Was it morally questionable that the newspapers did that, in your opinion? Morbidly,
the cunt is morally questionable anyway in lots of things.
Boris Johnson is, right, but that's kind of not the point that I'm making here. Like, do you think it was okay? Do you think it was fair game for the newspapers to name and shame the couple involved?
Well, yes, but only because it's not really naming and shaming. Like I said, we know where Boris lives, right? We know who his neighbours are, right? So, literally, if any person wanted to find out this, it's such a very specific, acute piece of information that it's not like this is an anonymous person who's been able to provide this. There's literally upstairs and downstairs that could have possibly have gave it.
Yeah, but there's a difference between people could go and find out. As you well know, most people are fucking too lazy or don't have the wherewithal to be able to
but someone would
obtain that information. Yeah, someone would have published it, but them doing that, would that have been morally questionable? That's the point I'm making. Is it fair game? Do you think it's fair game?
Yeah, the only reason I think it's fair game is because if they didn't mention him, there is a very real danger that the other neighbours could then get dragged into this. And, like, essentially, like I said, Boris has two sets of neighbours here, right? An upstairs and downstairs scenario. Maybe even left or right, like, that could have heard, right? But all the people who weren't involved in this don't deserve to get their names dragged into the newspapers or dragged into social media or dragged into anywhere about it. So if they don't name them, like, I mean, let's be honest here, I don't want to shock anybody, but Boris is particularly appealing to a very specific subset of the country at the present moment, and that very specific subset of the country, only one or two of them need to go out and find out all the names of the neighbours, and then suddenly all the neighbours are under scrutiny until someone comes forward and says it anyway. So I mean, it was going to, we don't live in a world anymore where there is any kind of, like, in that scenario there would be any real anonymity.
So I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would you then, are you suggesting that when that couple made that decision, they also made the decision to make themselves part of that story?
Well, yeah, I mean, because when that couple made that decision, they also absolutely definitely get fucking paid for that piece of information.
I don't know, not necessarily.
I reckon, I hear what you're saying, but I've got a recording of the possible next, almost 100% next Prime Minister of the UK arguing with his other half about she shouldn't be on the laptop. See the first newspaper that I phone about it, they're going to be left wing and they're going to be paying, right? They didn't listen to it and just went, the public need to know this. Do you know what I mean? That's not what happened. Because if that...
Well, I mean, supposedly they are, like, very anti-Tory. I don't know.
But exactly.
I didn't pay a lot, to be honest, right? Which isn't great, considering what we're doing is rounding up the news. I didn't pay a lot of attention to information about the couple. I know that they received a hell of a lot of flack on like right-wing social media and stuff like that. I'm kind of the same opinion as you, that they're kind of fair game. Like, you know, they made the decision to enter into this. I think they could easily, like the fact that they even started recording them, they obviously have an agenda. It's an agenda that I happen to agree with, you know what I mean? Like I don't particularly want to see Boris Johnson as the next Prime Minister of the UK. We'll get onto that. But I also think that, like, if you're going to go down that route, you're going to record it, you're going to give it to the papers, then you have to accept that you're going to cop a bit of fucking fallout from that, right?
Right, so take us, for example, right?
Yeah.
We put things out there for people to be able to hear and understand, and we put forward information, right? We already know that that's what we're doing. And as such, I know we don't hide our identity by any manner of means, but as such, if we were to find out that a particular area of the right-wing press or whatever had been affronted by something that we had said, taking umbrage at something that we had said, and they published our names and stuff, we couldn't be shocked by that because we knew what we were doing. If they've taken a recording with the intention of sending it to the newspaper, did they think there was going to be? I mean, did they think there would be some kind of anonymity for them? Because there wouldn't have been. Like, and in the event they think that they would. Granted, there is an argument that the newspaper that they sent it to originally should have said, you fucking understand that as soon as we process this, you're going to definitely
potentially they had that conversation.
And
with
they did.
them.
And if they did, then even more so the fact that that's fucking life, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, as things stand...
Like Esther Ranson.
Aye, that's what they call me. Anyway, I mean, I'm not telling you who they are. That's what they call me. You know, that group. So anyway, the long and short of it, in my opinion, is that you record people doing stuff, you put it out there. It's like very off subject, but you know your lad who threw the milkshake over Tommy Robinson?
Yes.
And he goes to court for that, right?
Yes. He
was aware of the sequence of events based on his actions, possibly as he done it, before he done it, but essentially he knew that was going to be the outcome. But the same basic principle, you record someone saying something, you send it to the news. If you don't think that your name is going to find its way to the news, especially because there is only so many people that it could have been. I mean, there is only there's like
probably two people. That's
exactly. I mean, like
two neighbours.
Like I said, upstairs, downstairs, hypothetically, maybe someone at the left or someone at the right, depending on the dynamics of the building. But the long and short of it is, the people who were directly around are the only people that could have been. Now, even more so, like I said, it's better for them to be published straight away than there to be negativity on right-wing message boards regarding, like, old Miss Smith down the stairs who's got fuck all to do with this, because
so if there are going to be death threats and threats of violence, you'd rather it went to the right people. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, essentially though, like, I would rather it go to the people who I mean, I will use the term deserve, and I don't mean deserve, but what I mean is the person who committed the act that was causing it, rather than some poor bird out walking her dog like on a Tuesday night and getting shouted at off some mad racist.
So have you ever had a Barney with your other half? At any point we raised voices?
Yes.
Right.
Once or twice.
So, I mean, obviously neither of us are running to become the Prime Minister of the country, but, you know, how would you feel if that private conversation between you was released into the public sphere?
Well, I'm not, like you said, I'm not running to be the Prime Minister. Like, sorry, your private life means fuck all if you want to be the Prime Minister. Just like if you want to be the President, just like if you want to hold certain seats or jobs that are in direct media eye all the time, whether it's right or wrong in the grand scheme of things, that's just the world that we live in. You want to be shouting like a fucking dickhead, and the thing is, right, see, in the nicest possible way, the guy in question that we're talking about here, we know is a dickhead anyway, right? So if you want to be shouting like a dickhead, then If you can't, as you're currently running for the Prime Minister, be able to hold yourself and have a smidgen of fucking composure in your life to be able to not put yourself in any questionable situation for the next 3 years.
But like you're in your house, you know, you're in your home, you presumably feel comfortable. And I imagine
nothing says comfortable like shouting at your spouse
at the moment. he's maybe going through a bit of a stressful time. It must be quite stressful, although he's sort of bowed out of doing a lot of press. I guess he was on the ITV debate last night, but so you're going through a bit of a stressful time, and then you're back in the house, and then something kicks off. As much as it would be good to have composure, you can't have composure 100% of the time. Also, I would suggest that if I have a Barney with my missus, that doesn't affect my ability to do my job offshore or whatever. Doesn't affect your ability to fucking do stuff on computers and do the stuff that you do. Shouldn't really have any bearing on Boris Johnson's ability to run the country. I am not in any way suggesting that I think Boris Johnson's...
I mean, we have to kind of, I don't know, delineate maybe is the right word. So you being able to work offshore and me being able to do computer stuff is very fucking different from the composure needed to, I can go into a customer and essentially be a mouth-frothing fucking raving lunatic because of the type of job that I can do. You can go offshore and realistically get into a Barney where it almost comes to blows with a fucking spark or something like that over something that's happened on... I mean, you shouldn't, but I'm saying that it can happen, right? We're talking about being the Prime Minister.
That's dealing with stupid sparks.
and that was Jerry. And you can get him at Jerry at... No, you can't. So we don't have those email addresses for that very reason. But I disagree. I think that it does show, him going home and having a Barney with his other half and stuff like that. Right now we're talking about a person who is in charge of making the decisions for 60 odd million people. You know what I mean? In charge of running the country.
Potentially.
I mean...
To all intents and purposes, it looks like it's very likely it'll be Boris Johnson. And I would be incredibly surprised if it wasn't. And
as such, unfortunately, that's no just a job. That's no just going to work and being... You know what I mean? That doesn't... the way that you hold yourself and the way that you are composed all the time now matters.
I mean, I don't know. I would suggest that, the last job that he had, he managed to go to Iran and get a British citizen 5 years extra on their fucking jail sentence. No. So I'm not sure I'm not 100% sure that his competencies.
I'm not saying that he's competent.
No, I know.
I mean, in fact, in that very thing, if I was in jail and they were we're sending Boris, I'd be like, don't,
please, don't.
Go, no.
But it's so bizarre. 6 months ago, that's what he was doing.
The good time.
That's what he was doing.
The good time. Here it's saying 6 months ago.
It's something. Did I miss something? How all of a sudden has he just been talked about as I was a shoe and he's definitely got to be the Prime Minister? And you're like, well, why? He's clearly a fucking idiot. However, here's a question for you: would you rather see Hunt or Boris Johnson in charge of the country right now? You would.
Aye.
See, I think that Hunt would be much more competent and would have much more ability to lead the country in the same kind of vein as maybe a Theresa May or a David Cameron, just sort of slowly but surely dismantling, any remnants of public ownership that we still have, continuing to cut and to fuck things up for the average working person. But he would do that in a way that
was slow and manipulative and just...
And also, it would have a veneer of professionalism and it presents himself in a way that we expect a politician to present himself. That's what a politician looks like. That's how a politician speaks. That's what they do.
He also presents himself in a way that I expect a Tory leader to be, which is I expect him to come in and slowly but surely dismantle all the public services and sell everything off.
But I think the problem there is that I think post-Brexit, if Brexit ever is finalised and happens, I think we are so saturated with politics in the public sphere and the Brexit argument. Everybody, I think, almost to a T, is sick to the fucking back teeth of talking about Brexit, just wants to see something happen for it to be over. Rightly or wrongly, and whatever way that goes, Jeremy Corbyn's obviously came out yesterday and said that he's going to
came out yesterday?
He's going to push for a
fucking Liberals
people's vote and he wants Remain to be on the ballot, blah, 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 blah. However, once that's over with one or the other, if we're in a position where Jeremy Hunt is the leader of the country, I think that could really, really play into the hands of the Tories, because the vast majority of people will be happy to shut off from politics and go back to a bit of antipathy and not really paying attention, and he will be allowed to wholesale do whatever the fuck he wants, because the vast majority of the British public will just be happy to have what looks like a politician back in charge. You know what I'm saying?
I absolutely get that. My problem is
the alternative.
Boris is a fucking psycho bomb and a horrible wee nasty bastard. He's essentially the Kaiser Soze of politics. What he's done is he's convinced people that he's some kind of buffoon, when in fact he is a Oxbridge educated fucking. He's by no manner of means stupid. He comes from a politically saturated family, where like every cunt and their gran in his family have all been politicians in some form or another. I know different parties, but nonetheless this still comes from a political background. And the thing is, people see him as some kind of like dithering buffoon who's going to like just come in and just like, it's just Boris, what's he going to do? He will absolutely fucking, in the small amount of time that he is in, be it if you only give him fucking 8 months, he will decimate the country in 8 months, because he does not give a fuck. Like, the difference is, I believe that there is a level, although deep down inside and withered away in Jeremy Hunt, where he is actually a human being, like as in he understands the fundamental basis that you can't be an absolutely terrible person even though you're chasing profit. Boris is an absolute fucking atrocity to fucking the human race. He will create absolute havoc. He will just sell shit. He will just fucking do what is best for Boris.
Which I mean, I agree with all of what you're saying. I don't disagree with that at all. However, I think that if I'm tossing it up between the two of them, and I've got a choice between the two, I think that I would probably take the short-term carnage of Boris Johnson's Prime Minister, because I honestly think he'd be lucky to last 3 months in government, because you're going to get a vote of no confidence, which I think a good portion of the parliamentary Tory party would support if Boris Johnson was in charge and fucking it up. I think he'll do ridiculous things. I think he will potentially set the groundwork for a Labour government to come in the future. I think potentially he will set the groundwork for an independent Scotland, because I think...
no, don't get me wrong. I believe that Boris being in power is the best way for, like... You never asked me what one would I prefer for the way that I perceive that the country should go, right? Like, that's like you asked me what one would I rather see running the country.
Yeah.
And the one that I would rather see running the country is Jeremy Hunt, because I do believe that he is actively probably a better politician, understands where lots of the lines are, and understands where to be a politician and where to not say horrendously racist things about various people, like Africans or
Pickaninnies, watermelon smiles,
that whole
letterboxes,
that whole bit, right? So as such, but I believe that we are living in a fucking Trump land now. Do you know what I mean? And unfortunately, the parallels between he is just an Oxbridge Trump. He's just like a educated fucking. Sell yourself as a buffoon. Say the things that people want to say. Make the man in the street feel just like, I think that about letterboxes too. Fucking like he is that type of person. And unfortunately, I think that the other side of it, we will have people who are actively in the situation that they will vote for him again, because it'll be like MABA. Make America Britain again.
I think you got that one right.
Something to that effect.
Mbop.
Make Britain oppress people.
Mbop. That's good. Yeah, we
again. Mbopper.
I agree with you that he's our version of Trump. He certainly has the same attitude to the truth.
He's like the most quintessentially English Trump in the entire world. He's like Trump if Trump was to meet cucumber sandwiches and Pimm's and croquet. Do you know what I mean? He is essentially like it's a weird thing to say, but like
if Trump fucked Hugh Grant.
aye man, like Hugh Trump, Donald Grant, I don't know, like Donald Grant, maybe somebody else. I do apologise, Donald. Thanks for listening. But I mean, he's like I keep on wanting to say words like polished or refined, but I absolutely do not mean either of those two words. But essentially, he is like the quintessentially English version of Trump. Like, if you were to take everything that you were to ask the general public around the world, like if you were to ask mostly the oppressed people, so if you were to ask Australia, India, Canada, if you were to pretty much ask anybody that was part of the colonies at some point or another, what components are like quintessentially English, and you were to take those components and take Trump and put them in a blender and finally celebrate because we fucking blended Trump. But if you were to do that, you would get Boris. You know what I mean? Like, that's all he is. He's like a fucking mouthy, kind of racist, pretends to be laddie lad, but in fact is part of the establishment. But all he's done is fucking wrapped it up in fucking billiards, fucking horse polo, and fucking Wimbledon. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's Trump at strawberries and cream. Like, that's what he is.
So, what do you think?
So bring it back to a bit more composure, Paul. Let's talk properly now and stop shouting.
What do you think about the Bannon connection now?
Well, do you not think that it's weird, right, that we are now seeing in the UK a presidential debate? I know it's not, it's the Prime Minister's debate, and it's not a fucking thing because none of us have any say in the outcome of it anyway. So essentially it's just two people arguing about shit, so about fucking 150,000 people can make a vote on shit that has nothing to do with anyone else. And if you actually look at the demographic of the people who are members of the Tory party, the people who are making the majority of that vote are people who are so disconnected from Northern England, so disconnected from the southwest of England, so disconnected from Scotland, so disconnected from Wales and Northern Ireland. These people don't know the people that they are voting to be representing. Do you know what I mean? Like, not for the most part. These are wealthy Middle England people who are actually make up the core of the Tory party, and they're the people who are making the decision. So putting them both on TV is such a Bannon thing. It's such an Americanized, like, let's watch these two people debate and who's the best. It doesn't fucking matter what you think. Like, it doesn't matter. See, if you're in Manchester right now, it does not fucking matter what you think about that debate.
So, like, for me, I would say the whole getting them on the TV, like the 6 of them were on there like it was fucking the worst episode of 15 to 1 I've ever fucking seen in my life.
Golf was in the toilets battering through Donner's gear.
You had the empty fucking what do you call it? Not a plectrum.
Podium?
Aye, that's not what, lectern. The empty lectern
that's why you say plectrum. It's a combination of podium and that's how you play guitar. We have podium and a
lectern. Battering.
And a lectern guitar.
I just batter the guitar off the podium because I can't play it. You had the empty lectern where Johnson was supposed to be on the first one, which I watched, which I think was ITV.
Aye, he was too busy shouting at his bird though.
Aye, it was too busy batting fuck it to Carrie Simmons. Allegedly, didn't happen. Sorry, I made that up.
Aye, we're not saying that happened. We're just saying she found his porn.
But you had like Rory Stewart seemed to be like the darling of the fucking liberal left because he pretended to be a human.
Is that the guy who looks like a melted green goblin?
Yeah, totally. It's like
the best description. So JJ, big shout out to JJ. JJ's description was as if, what's his name?
Willem Dafoe.
It was as if a blind person tried to recreate William Dafoe through touching him and clay. like
Lionel Richie in the Hello video.
Like as if she tried to make a William Dafoe, it would look exactly like him. You know,
Rory Stewart looks like a caricature of an English person. Like, he looks like, you know how whenever there's English people in Family Guy and they've all got terrible teeth and look a bit weird
like
and
a
they
big
speak.
massive smile and stuff like that.
That's exactly what Rory Stewart looks like.
I mean, it does look like a poor man's or a rich man's William Dafoe.
But like, I love the fact that, you know, the Tory party put up these. Esther McVeigh Michael Gove, fuck me, Michael Gove.
I
He
mean,
just
see the
constantly
idea.
translucent.
I
Like,
see the idea that anyone was looking across the room and thought, next Prime Minister there in Gove.
he looks like you could just pick him up and stick him to a wall.
I'd wait at the bar at Witherspoon's if he was serving me for somebody else. Like, I'd just wait. Do you want anything? No.
He just always looks like his face is just been came on. Like he's just been in the middle of a bukkake party. He's just always slimy,
That's why
greasy.
they call him Bukkake Gove.
Yeah. And they all take drugs apparently. But yeah, like, but out of all of them, like, they were like, oh, well, we could have Hugh Grant fucked Donald Trump. We can have the Scouse working class one who's thick as fuck. We can have Jeremy fucked the NHS cunt. We can have Michael Gove, who looks like a fucking paedophile.
Michael Gove consistently has absolutely zero good pictures for him in the media as well.
Or we can have this guy. He's nearly human. And they went, well, get rid of him.
We can have this guy. He's nearly human. Except he also looks like the Green Goblin, who was beyond human.
Yeah, he was like, what's not advanced. He was enhanced. He was an enhanced human.
He was an advantage. He fucking definitely was not. You know, if he acted like William Dafoe does in Boondock Saints,
That'd be cool.
it'd be different. I mean, that's the Prime Minister I'd be voting for. Except I don't have a say in it because only 150,000 people.
Maybe that's how he acted when he was walking across Afghanistan.
Doubt it. But like William Dafoe does a lot of what I would describe
You
as
know Rory Stewart walked across Afghanistan, right? Just checking.
It's easy if you know that the heroin's at the other side of the country though.
So that's the Tory leadership race. I guess we'll see who wins. Everybody is pretty much certain it's going to be Boris Johnson, absent some fucking.
By the way, you know how they call him Bojo? That's because they don't want to call him BJ. Right? It's so clear. The guy's a fucking. The guy is essentially a personified blowjob.
That's the other thing I was going to say. I think that this whole debate thing, the getting the two of them, I mean the six of them, and then whittling it down and having this all in the public, having debates and stuff, when we all know that none of us really, apart from 150,000 Conservative Party members, have any say in this, and even they have a very limited say because the party whittled it down to two candidates to present to them, is extremely non-democratic, considering that we're supposed to be taking back the sovereignty of this country. But the interesting thing to me is that, like, it reeks of some sort of like establishment move to sort of manufacture consensus and consent and involvement, make us feel like we're in some way involved in the process.
Give the plebiscite something, you know what I mean? Like it does feel that way. It's just like, just fucking like let them feel like they have a say or a thought. Like, have people at work at the water cooler, fuck knows what work you're doing, talking the next, like, have people in the call centre on 0 hour contracts talking about how they hope they've got work tomorrow, and also how much you think Jeremy Hunt came across much better than Boris Johnson when talking about the NHS. Nobody said that.
I think Boris Johnson's tax cuts for people earning over 80 grand and corporation tax are really going to affect me on my 0 hours contract.
But that's exactly it. Like I said, see if you're in fucking Manchester or you're in Newcastle or you're fucking in Sheffield, right? They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They're pretending.
They've been coming up here quite a lot recently, have you noticed that?
It's because they fucking love milkshakes.
They're terrified of the union breaking up.
Aye, yeah. That's because, a bit off topic here, right? But think about this. See, in the event Scotland was a financial hole for the rest of the UK, why would they not just tell us to go?
Yeah, just get us to fuck. The Tories don't give things away for free.
Like literally, like why would they not just tell us to go? Anyway.
But I don't like using such a broad term as the establishment because it sounds a bit mental. Like, but I mean, there are established institutions in this country,
Ments.
right? And media and the government and whatever. But the whole debate thing, it comes across to me like state-sponsored propaganda.
Do you know what will not happen? See, if Boris gets into power, there won't be another Leveson inquiry. Right?
Well, yeah.
Like, there won't be. So it's within their interest to make you think that you're involved in this. It's within your interest to make you want to have Boris or to Hunt. But realistically, I mean, fuck, honestly, the best thing out of this situation, in my opinion, right now, that could happen for the country moving forward over the next year or two until the next general election happens, is Hunt being in charge. The best thing, as in the way we will operate most consistently to how we're operating now, the status quo, if you will, would be Hunt. But I think it's probably going to be Boris.
And if you had a choice, would you choose Hunt, or would you, like me, in a sort of Machiavellian move, would you choose Boris?
Embrace the bojo.
Yeah.
Because there's a sentence I never want to fucking hear again. See, it's tough. I do find that genuinely tough, because if you're asking me, do I believe the best way for Scottish independence to occur? Do I believe that the best way for the Tory party to fucking implode within themselves?
Yeah.
And do I believe for the best way for people having to look for another option because the person who has been put in charge like the Tories can't be voted for because the man in charge is
fucking state of them.
Is fucking tweeting on the toilet, eating burgers and watching fucking Animal Planet like that pelter across the pond? Then Bojo is the answer. I mean, that would be the best solution. But if I don't believe that another independence referendum will occur in the next couple of years, or not until the next general election, and if I don't believe that, as much as I agree with various policies and personal stances that Jeremy Corbyn has, that he is the correct leader or he would be able to win the next general election, then I would rather Hunt be in, because right now, even if Boris fucks things up, like absolutely shags the country between now and December, if it goes to a general election and it's up, and I mean, I know there's other parties smashing, right? We live in a two-party country, let's no fucking pretend, right? If you're asking, do I believe that a Corbyn-led Labour would beat a Boris-led Tories, even if it means they have to have a coalition with someone else? The answer's no, because I don't believe the public will vote for Jeremy Corbyn.
Okay, fair enough. So moving on, very current bit of news. We have today saw the resignation of Sir Kim Darroch, the UK ambassador to the US.
It's that lad that Trump likes.
Not a big fan, it turns out. So there was, I mean, he's been shafted, the boy Kim Darroch, essentially here, because there has been a leak of.
I mean, Kim Darroch sounds like a character out of Star Wars.
He might be a character out of Star Wars.
All right, cool.
I can't confirm he isn't.
Fair enough. I mean, to be honest, I could probably take a stance with lots of people that we mentioned. So, like, I can't really confirm that Boris Johnson isn't a character out of Star Wars.
So, Kim Darroch, it was leaked cables, right, which seems to have been deliberately leaked viciously for political gain, and there's actually now a police investigation into how it came about. They're talking about potential prosecution and stuff, and I think, you know, it is something that should be taken seriously. This guy's lost his job for doing his job, basically. This was a private cable that he was sending, advising the UK government, in which he was given his own honest assessment of the US administration, in which he said that they were inept and fucking useless, right? I don't think he said fucking. So
how amazing would it be if that's what they said in the email? They're inept and fucking useless.
It would be accurate. But so all he's done there is given his professional opinion, which is what he's paid to do. In order,
it's literally his job,
yeah,
to kick about Washington and let the British government, but certainly the Prime Minister, but the British government know if it's a fucking shambles.
But the leaking of this has made his position untenable. He was due to leave later this year anyway, and maybe that's maybe that's why somebody has chosen to leak it in order to get him out quicker. I don't know. Yeah, purely.
But him leaving this job,
speculation.
Like reeks of, because I've started watching it, and then you get why I'm talking. But like, see, like the thick of it. Like, see exactly the way they deal with. Well, you're going to have to fucking leave. That's it. You're going to have to resign. We'll make it all cushy. We'll do a nice number. We'll do it, and it does reek of like just a damage limitation thing, where it's just like, well, this has all went to shambles, and Trump doesn't like what you've said, and all this kind of stuff. So you're going to have to resign before we have to boot you. You know, or like you're going to have to leave because you're going to be leaving at the end of the year anyway. So it doesn't really matter. And if you do leave under these, it's going to be marginally better for you than if you wait and then shit gets worse. I mean, it does just feel like a damage limitation and getting rid of him.
I mean, yeah, and the fact that obviously the country that he's going to have to be working with, or would have had to continue working with, he completely damaged his relationship with them. You know,
you should hear what I say about them.
And also, like, they're one of our major allies, unfortunately. So, you know, in order to appease them, we have to get rid of him. If he hadn't resigned, we'd probably had to sack him.
But I mean, does this mean that we are to presume that American ambassadors in the UK right now don't send emails to their bosses saying things like "Hunt's a pelter" and "Bojo's a roundin"? You know what I mean? Like,
of course they do.
But that's what I mean. So like,
but it's all about when they get leaked or not, isn't it? Or, you know, they're not supposed to be.
Well, they are supposed to be
leaked.
No, but they are supposed to be saying the things that they're saying.
Yeah, of course they are.
Like, I mean, it's literally.
He's not done anything wrong.
I mean, the only reason all this has came across, see, you're saying America, but this isn't really an America thing. This is a Trump thing. This is pure fucking bravado and pure fucking ego. Like, how dare this person be in this country from the UK and say my country's a fucking shambles and everybody around me is an absolute grade A bellend? Like, that was paraphrasing. But, I mean, but that's the problem. The problem here is, like, it's Trump's ego and bravado that's getting in the way. Like, see if Obama was still the president, do you think he would be hurt that the British ambassador had said the country is in a shambles at the present moment? Do you think that during January, when Trump couldn't fucking sort the problems, it meant that everybody in the fucking government wasn't getting paid?
I was at a standstill.
At that point, if he had said it was a shambles, would that be a problem? Because it wasn't a shambles. Or would Trump still want rid of him because it's hurt his ego and it's hurt the fact that, you know, how dare someone, because that's really what this is all about. It's got nothing to do with America. There is absolutely no way that any actual working full-blown politician in the House of Representatives or anything in the US would be upset or hurt about the idea that an ambassador from the UK has looked at what's happening in the US right now and said the country is in shambles and expect him to leave. None. I mean, there's none. Because there's none of them that wouldn't expect that to be being said. Like, if you are in the government in the US right now and you don't think that the rest of the world is like fucking shambles, then you're lying to yourself.
Well, I think Boris Johnson was asked about it last night on the leadership debate.
And as we discussed, with his ability to make sure that people were in jail for a further 5 years, what did that pelter say?
He just threw him under the bus, basically.
It's because he builds buses and
builds
throws them
buses, writes things on buses, throws cunts under them. He's just a big bus fan.
He's just a big bus cunt. So I might make a t-shirt that says bus cunt. Bet nobody buys it. Far from me.
I bet they don't.
At the Byline Festival this year, I'll be the one in the bus cunt t-shirt.
There was a bus there last year, wasn't there?
Aye, there was. Anonymous showed up with a laser unit and put propaganda on it.
Nice. So
there was also a tank there.
Oh yeah, there was. And a mad Jeep thing.
Aye, because there's pictures of
Joe.
I know just Joe.
Red hair guy, Chris Wiley.
Aye, Chris Wiley and
Shamir Sani.
Yes, on top of it, the pictures get taken and sent to Steve Bannon saying we're coming for you.
I noticed they didn't.
What, come for them?
Well, I mean, maybe. Do you think they come on Michael Gove and that's why he looks like that? That seems unlikely, but it's possible.
Well, I'm not even passing comment on that.
So, I'm thinking the next one that I have here is Jeffrey Epstein, but I'm thinking bit of light relief. We go for Black Ariel.
Oh, right, so we'll talk about Black Ariel. So, right.
This is the Little Mermaid, not the washing powder.
Or not, you know, what's in the top of like a mini. That would be a Black Ariel.
Yeah, true. For the radio and that. See what you did there.
So, people have lost their shit because, and I will show you the picture, I'll give Jerry the picture to be able to put up on the website. So there's a picture of the Confederate flag, right? I'm not even shitting you, with not My Little Pony, with the Little Mermaid in the middle of it, and it said, "Stop changing our history." Now there's a couple of problems with that, Jerry.
What?
There's a couple of problems with that. First and foremost, it's not history.
Yeah.
Secondly, mermaids don't exist. Thirdly, the Confederates lost. I don't really understand what's going on here. Like there's a lot to unpack.
It was a Danish fairy tale.
Hans Christian Andersen.
Yeah.
But so the argument
Was the Hans a nickname?
it was like Hansy Christian Andersen.
Yeah.
Like every time he was in a bar, he was always
Like,
grabbing ass.
inverted commas, Hans Christian Andersen.
Hansy Christian Andersen, you know, he's like, it sounds like it sounds like somebody to be running for the Tory leadership. There's Gove, there's Bojo, there's
Hans
there's
Christian Andersen.
Hansy Christian Andersen at it again. I mean, see if I told you a guy called Christian Andersen was running for fucking the Tory leadership, would you question it?
Not at all.
See if I tell you it was Hansy, would you question it?
No.
Point proven. And what if I told you he wrote fairy tales?
Well, Boris Johnson writes in the Telegraph.
And also I've seen most of the policies that the Conservatives try to bring in. It sounds like fairy tales. Oh, Brexit! A fucking fine fairy tale. Anyway, so the long and short of it is
They're doing a remake of The Little Mermaid.
yes, they're doing a live action Little Mermaid. It's live action.
Alright, like Splash.
Like Cher's in it. So there's Cher.
Is she?
Cher, and Cher's going to be the mum of... No! Look, you're looking at me there. Like, is Cher not in Splash?
No.
What's Cher not in? What's the mermaid one Cher's in?
Well, I don't know. I've never seen a mermaid one with Cher in it. I would avoid anything that Cher has any involvement in if I have the opportunity to.
Jerry, I hear what you're saying, but see if I could
Daryl
turn back time.
If you could find a way,
Yeah.
you'd put masking tape all over your fanny and you'd stay. I don't know what it was masking tape, was it? It was like electrical tape. I don't know.
Also, if you noticed that they pointed it out, and have I got news for you, about 25 years ago, that see in that video, I think it's possibly because of the fishnet tights that she's wearing, it looks like she's sat on a newspaper because it looks like there's newspaper print on her arse. Like, it's hilarious. Anyway, that's a bit off topic. And she also sits on a cannon. On a cruise, not a cruise ship. That's not what they call it.
Oh, one of those cruise ship cannons.
I am very sure a cruise ship cannon is a very different thing. So anyway,
I see. It looks like she has a massive black cock.
well, aye, I mean,
When she's sitting on a cannon.
I thought you meant in general.
I would be
Yes.
surprised. She does look a bit like a tranny. Anyway.
So, Black Ariel. They're doing a live.
Yeah,
so they're doing a live
Daryl
action.
Hannah, though. Daryl Hannah's in Splash.
All right, cool. Right, so they're doing a live action Little Mermaid, and they've cast a black actress to play Ariel, and people say that's not accurate. Now, mermaids don't exist. Number one.
Yep.
Number two, if mermaids did exist, we'd expect to see a couple of components. Probably webbed fingers. Probably larger eyes.
Oh, are we going down the evolutionary route here?
Well, we're saying in the event a mermaid exists, right? So they're saying that's not accurate. But if you're saying, well, that's not accurate, if you actually wanted to say, how would a fish person fucking develop? Like the skin, see anyone who thinks a dolphin looks smooth, it's like fucking sandpaper. Dolphins are rough as fuck. Most other fucking aquatic mammals are either really
a bit harsh. I mean, like,
they're rough as fuck, rough around the edges, man. No, but they're large.
Fuck, dolphins rough as fuck, man.
Man, he's fucking been on it all night.
What the fucking state him?
fucking always the same.
Quite a good dolphin impression.
That's because I hang with dolphins. That's how I know they're quite rough. We fight. I'm a dolphin fighter. Anyway, their skin's really rough, right? So like large aquatic mammals, their skin's rough. Small aquatic mammals have usually got a kind of brown fur on them.
I don't like the idea that you're giving my sexy mermaids webbed hands and rough skin,
Think
big
about the
eyes,
web hands would
and
be
fur.
like getting wanked off a squeegee.
Meh. When you put it like that.
Oh, squeegee wank. Didn't realise, Paul.
And how big will these eyes be exactly?
I was going to go fucking horrendous there, and I remember we were recording a podcast.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a ridiculous thing for people to be annoyed about.
All I mean is, like, see if they were just like, you should make it more accurate. Alright, fair enough. Here's a furry little mermaid that underneath the fur's got translucent skin with webbed hands and like fucking big fucking eyes and sharp teeth. Like, you're nasty.
Is there an element of like
Racism.
every?
Yes.
Oh yeah, obviously that. But is there an element of like every reboot of every film they do now, they are like almost deliberately making one of the lead characters some sort of minority in order to play to the crowd?
Well, maybe, but is there not an argument to say Hans Christian Andersen probably didn't have that many interactions with a vast array of black people in his entire life and didn't really understand things like the way that black people and white people's skin differs and stuff, and the fact that the Little Mermaid, because of the tropical fish and the Jamaican fucking crab that is in it, not a Jamaican fucking crab, that's a very different thing, but Jamaican crab, flounder fish and stuff, it's set in the Caribbean or at least in warmer waters, and as such one would imagine that the skin would be darker.
I'm looking at a picture of the statue of the Little Mermaid.
I mean, it is literally made it like
in
copper.
Langolene, and she's black.
I think it's copper though.
She's.
I mean, I say that, but who made a fucking statue of copper? No, because it's kind of greenish underneath the boobs and
It's
that.
bronze.
Bronze.
But she doesn't look white, does she?
No, she doesn't look white. So I believe there's some references in the book that say things like white arms and stuff
Doesn't
like
he have
that.
webbed hands either?
I don't know. No, it's because Web Hands Christian Andersen didn't write the book. Yes. Now, in the book, supposedly there's reference to white legs and white arms, but I will argue the case it doesn't fucking matter because it was a cartoon that's getting made into a live action TV show, and if you're going to have a girl in the water who is 50% human in some format, who's around a Jamaican crab and tropical fish, the logic would be that
Do you have melanin in her skin?
aye, man, like, because she's in the sun and, like, you know what I mean, and like what, like, imagine, right, she's got red hair and really pale skin, right? And
She's still got red hair.
I'd imagine so.
She's got red hair and she's black.
Aye, because she's a fucking mermaid and it doesn't need to make an iota of sense.
That'll look weird.
Well, no, it won't. It'll look exactly like Starfire from the Titans TV show, who was then replaced by a black actress when she's white in the comics, and she has red hair because she's an alien. But essentially, it wouldn't look any more different than that.
I'm not against it. I'm just saying that it's a novel appearance.
Do you not think there would be a weird situation though, where the white Ariel, standard Disney cartoon Ariel, is like lounging on a rock as one knows mermaids do from time to time, and gets burnt as a motherfucker because she's got really pale skin and red hair.
She's a ginger.
Man. She's like jumps back in the water, just like it's
the
salt.
salt.
Peeling skin and all that. Like, just like, do you know what? I know you've got legs, but
You know, you mention it. Ariel would have been covered in melanomas.
man, like, Ariel, we've gave you legs, but also you've got skin cancer.
Fucking hell, man.
Unfortunately, your body hadn't evolved properly to be able to deal with the intricacies of being fucking beaten by the Caribbean sun for the last fucking 20 years.
Yeah, nobody cared that Sebastian was
A Jamaican crab.
And under the sea,
I mean,
What?
That part, like, they're talking about changing it.
Here, darling, it's better. Doing it's better. Take it from me.
It seems like
That's not a good chat-up line.
It is, darling. No, I mean, it's a good chat-up line if you're a sex offender. Like if you're heavily into like neuro-linguistic programming.
Darling,
all right, darling.
better doing it's better. Take it from me.
And if you don't smell this rag.
Oh, brutal. So that's not big jokes about stuff like that.
I mean, it does sound like a sex offender
It does
fucking
sound
comment.
like I was deliberate though. I was deliberately trying to sound creepy. What was
All
that
the
I want to talk
time?
about? No, that's just there.
Alright.
The Little Mermaid thing. It's a fucking non-story, really, isn't it?
Like, so-
Nobody
so-
gave a fuck either when
This is exactly what I was just about to say.
Aquaman.
Aye, so Aquaman, right? Aquaman in the comics and Aquaman in the cartoons is a white as fuck man. Like, I mean, he's so white. He's
A Hitler
comically
Youth
white.
poster
I mean, he's
boy.
like blonde hair, blue eyed, pale as a motherfucker. On top of that, he's also like, you know, like if you see an internet meme of white people doing like white people-y stuff that's quite. That can be they can be seen as quite embarrassing, or like, you know, the white men can't jump type kind of trope. He's essentially that he's almost awkward with it. Like, yeah, he can talk to fish and all that, and he's super strong, and I'm pretty certain he can fly and he can control the sea. But he's also kind of weird and awkward because he spent his entire life under the fucking water.
It could do all of that, and everybody's fine about it. But he better not be black.
But-
that's just taking it too far. That's
no,
unrealistic.
But no, can't even say that. They literally replaced him with a incredibly well built fucking Polynesian man, and nobody gave a fucking shit about it. There was
Especially
literally
not the birds.
there was literally no fucking white woman fucking greeting about their heritage being fucking taken away when they got to see fucking Jason Momoa kicking about with his top off in the fucking water. At that point, it didn't matter, and the reason it didn't matter is because this is a fucking non-story. This is total hypocrisy. This is, they're taking away, like I was red-haired and I was red-haired and I used to look up to the Little Mermaid as a role model. What? She's half fish. She brushes her hair with a fork. She fucking absolutely, I mean,
She makes terrible life decisions.
terrible life decisions.
Yeah, take my voice.
Take my voice for what? Legs? Why do you want legs? So I can go on the beach and get my hole? What? What? Wait a minute. So here then, shut up.
In fact, she's a terrible role model. Like, all I need to do is just stand about and no speak, and he'll definitely want to
And
fuck me.
definitely want to shag me, and my mate's a fucking Jamaican crab.
And that's the only thing that I want in life.
I brush my hair with a fork.
But you could be down here swimming and fucking living your life and like being all cool and you're like a princess. Yeah, I'm gonna give that all up to not speak and get fucked.
Like you're literally a princess whose dad is the king of the fucking ocean, right? I know, but I want shagged off this second-rate captain who's fucking sunk his boat.
I thought he was a prince or some shit.
Prince Captain, Captain Prince,
The prince.
Captain Prince, Eric Prince's bro.
Alright, I just thought it was like fucking
Captain Prince sounds like an American cereal.
Captain Prince is like, I got a boat, motherfucker.
And how come no one was offended in any way, shape, or form when their children were watching? Like, so people get dead offended about lots of things like the gay agenda, the agenda that literally all the gays that I know aren't aware of, but straight white people seem to know about it. The baddie, like Ursula, was literally based on a drag queen. That's what
In the cartoon?
In the cartoon, that's what the character. So it's okay for there to be a drag queen octopus witch, right? That's fine and makes sense. But the main character has to be a white girl, or I'm upset. Psychotic.
That's okay though, because she was a tranny, but she was also bad, and that's fine because trannies are bad in their eyes.
Oh, I see what you mean. I mean, also remember Walt Disney was like a mad Nazi. Just on top of that.
I feel a bit uncomfortable learning that Ursula was a tranny though.
No.
I had a few
that's
right good wanks over her.
no. Well, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not judging you. This is a safe space. Welcome to Safe Space Podcast.
So yeah, wrap the
this is
tentacles.
literally-
Wrap
this is
the
like-
tentacles around my cock.
This is like watching like Japanese porn, but also transvestite porn.
Just two of my favourite things.
You know, I just done that to insinuate two penises, like, one in each horn, and aye.
Yeah, it was a good mime. Unfortunately, our listeners won't get the benefit of that
Till we're on TV. So anyway, so there's lots of components to this that are just mental. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, I mean, Ariel as a role model is a dreadful role model.
Yeah,
right?
Terrible life decisions.
Like, and
teaching women that they should just stand there and shut the fuck up.
And also going in a boat and then getting your best mate to hang about round the back of the boat going, kiss her. He literally sings a song called Kiss a Girl, where he's in the boat and he's just like, stick your tongue in her mouth.
Do you go?
Wench her.
Do you reckon I'd be curious to know what the ethnicity of the
voice actor I
who
don't
done
want
Sebastian
to find
was.
out, because it's going to go one of two ways. It's either going to be a Jamaican guy doing it or terribly racist.
I'm going to check.
Okay.
Keep talking.
Now you've put me in the spot. You know how much I don't like talking, Jerry. So anyway, there's like
it's a shite film anyway. The original's a shite film. I didn't enjoy The Little Mermaid much.
Also in the book,
apart from the Ursula wanks, obviously. Also
in the book, she dies and turns to dust, I think, at the end.
Oh, so it was like the precursor to Infinity Wars.
Ursula snaps her finger and Ariel turns to dust after getting her hole.
Halle Bailey.
That's who's playing it now.
Is she just a Halle Berry rip-off?
No. But that's who's playing it now. That's the new character. That's the new. I mean, fucking 50% of this is going to be CGI anyway. Literally 50% of this is going to be CGI. So Bob Haffier's going to be
pretty light skinned.
I know, it's not even. I mean, it's not even like she's like sub-Sahara African, like very, very, very dark skinned. She's quite a light skinned black person. She's literally
just a non-story, isn't it?
Aye, man. Like doing the check Sebastian.
I am.
Good. Why did you say it like that?
Oh yeah, look, he's a Jamaican guy.
Oh, he's a Jamaican guy.
He's a black guy anyway.
Samuel E. White.
Right. He's for South Carolina. He did Dinosaur in 2000 and Bird in 1988 also, neither of which I'm aware of.
What is that? Open it up, get on the floor, everybody rock the dinosaur.
Who was that? That was a good song. I like that.
That was me just the original. So anyway, that got weird. Right, but so the long and short is, this isn't a fucking story, right? This isn't a thing. Like the people who are offended about it, like,
are cunts.
Have you seen that they've also announced a live action Mulan for 2021?
Are they going to do that Hun song?
They fucking go out there, beat the Huns, or whatever the song is. Fucking up the Huns. Fucking 10 in a row. I don't know. I can't quite remember the lyrics. Something like that though.
So,
but it is actually something like that. It's called like Beat the Huns.
So we've got.
But it's an Asian woman that's playing Mulan.
Fine.
Right.
She was a Mongolian, wasn't she? I think originally.
No, she was Chinese. She was fighting the Mongolians.
Ah, right, okay. I've never watched it.
No, you know. I mean, Eddie Murphy played a Chinese dragon in that as well. Again, nobody was really.
Eddie Murphy's not a fucking dragon. That's ridiculous.
Eddie Murphy's not a dragon or Chinese. He's a black man. I can't believe he's culturally appropriated dragons and Chinese people.
Shocking. So we've got. You want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein now?
Aye, man, we'll talk about Epstein. So, he's a fucking creepy rapist. I actually don't know if he's a creepy rapist, but he's definitely a paedophile.
Yeah, and he's definitely been involved in some sort of crazy paedophile ring for quite a long time.
But I mean, pretty much, like, so this is one of those... For those... I can't imagine anyone that is listening to us don't know, but for those who don't know, the long and short of it is, he is like the hedge fund version of Weinstein, as in it has been like a kind of unspoken secret, like a well-known thing for a long time, that he holds very specific parties. I mean, he's the Lolita Express guy. Do you know what I mean? He's like, so he has private jets and he has a creepy sex island and shit like that, where so essentially the long and short of where he is at the present moment, before we get to his connections and all that kind of stuff, is from 1997 to 2003, he was taken to court, I believe in Florida, for charges to do with soliciting prostitution of underagers, minors.
Yeah, 14-year-old girl specifically was convicted of soliciting a 14-year-old girl for prostitution.
But that's not actually the case that he went up for. What he done was, that was a plea, and that was a bargain that he made. So it meant that he went to jail under Florida law instead of him being held under federal prosecution.
He served 13 months in custody with work release, which meant he was allowed to spend 16 hours a day outside of prison as part of a plea deal.
So he went to bed.
As part of a plea deal, yeah,
which is exactly like me going to bed in my house, only prisony.
But it was part of a plea deal where federal officials identified 36 victims or something like that.
Yeah. So what I done was,
I love the first line of his Wikipedia entry. So it says Jeffrey Edward Epstein, born January 20th, 1953, is an American financier and registered sex offender. Yeah.
I would have swapped him about.
Yeah, like one seems much more important than the other, doesn't it?
Aye. So anyway, essentially that was that court case, and because he made the plea, he went to jail under, instead of it being a federal case, he went to jail under essentially Florida law, I believe, or he went to jail certainly under state prosecution rather than federal prosecution. So he is then kicking about, still being a creepy rapist. Oh,
bless you.
Thank you. I was a bit religious, but all right. And he flew back recently to the United States. When he landed in the United States, they arrested him again. The reason they arrested him again is because he is now being prosecuted for a very similar having sex with children sequence of events. Only I believe it covers the period from 2006 to 2009 or 2006 to 2011, somewhere roughly in that period. And that's what he's currently being held for at the present moment. He is almost certainly going to get done for this, and he's almost certainly going to make a plea again. Now, he's
almost certainly going to identify some high-profile people potentially.
And this is where it gets amazing. I mean, I don't know why I'm celebrating like that, but so,
he has ties particularly to Prince Andrew.
Mate of Prince Andrew. He's been on the old Lolita Express.
Bill Clinton has flown on his plane 26 times.
Yep. And so we're clear, that plane is that Lolita Express I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is in kiddie fiddling private jet. I mean, the argument has always been...
It's known for having underage girls on it.
It's known for having young girls on it.
Underage.
So, like I said, it's officially known for having young girls on it. It seems to be a Hollywood type secret that he has regularly had underage girls on it, and that is his bit. I mean, the whole scenario was that, the whole thing that he actually got done for was soliciting underage girls for prostitution, and in fact he actually currently is being looked at because he was asking underage girls that he had given massages and stuff. I actually feel uneasy talking about this side of things, on islands to recruit other girls to come to his island as well. So a certain President Trump is a long-standing friend of his.
Woody Allen.
I mean, Woody Allen's a fucking paedophile as well.
In September 2002, Epstein flew Clinton, Kevin Spacey, and Chris Tucker to Africa in his private jet.
Well, I don't know much about Chris Tucker, but if I was the other person on the plane with fucking Epstein, fucking Clinton, and fucking what's his name? Kevin Spacey, I'd be like, oh no. I'm a bad guy. I don't know how this has happened.
Are we the bad guys?
Guys, I can't be sure, but is this going to end up in a federal offence? Because all three of you are known sex offenders.
We can't say that about Bill Clinton.
Well, it offends me, he has sex.
He's definitely been known to have dabbled in.
He is a prolific sexual deviant.
Prolific.
Sexual deviant.
Prolific
He
adulterer.
stuck a cigar.
Prolific adulterer.
Listen, he stuck a cigar in places
It's
in the
a
White
bit
House.
judgmental. I think deviant's a bit judgmental.
Sticking a cigar up any orifice is deviancy.
I don't think he stuck a cigar up or he just asked her to do it.
I mean, right, fucking hell. Right, fine then, I didn't realise, Jerry. It's still a bit deviant. That's deviant behaviour. That would be classed as deviant behaviour. If you were absolute, like, that would definitely be deviant
Very
behaviour.
judgmental.
It's not really judgmental. I'm not saying you shouldn't have deviant behaviour in the bedroom, but it wasn't the bedroom. It was the fucking Oval Office. It was literally the president's. Like it was right now. See, every time Trump sits down in that seat, just think. Do you know what Lewinsky done in that seat?
Consenting adults.
It's still a bit deviant.
What is-
Here then, you want to stick a cigar in you? Let me watch. Whereabouts? In my office. What's your office? The fucking White House. Getting your end away.
I thought we used to whereabouts your fanny.
Whereabouts? In the Oval Office. Is that what you call it?
That's a weird euphemism.
And it's also one that I'm going to use from now on. That's quality. Don't know how often that's going to come up, to be honest. But you know, it depends where the deviancy goes.
Mind if I stiff into your Oval Office?
Is your Oval Office been tapped?
Oh, dude.
Anyway, so he's a sexual deviant. The other two are definitely sex offenders.
Yes, I agree.
Chris Ducker was there for some light entertainment. I'm not sure. Like, oh no. Well, like, I mean, still though, you would be looking around who was on the plane.
I really hope Jackie Chan's not a pedo. That would be upsetting.
I can't imagine he is. Like Dave Grohl, Jackie Chan, Tom Hanks. You can put money in these guys. My name should be grand.
I want to be able to return to this in like 10 years' time.
Like, as soon as I say that, I thought to myself, this is coming back to bite me. Oh, what did Tom Hanks, Jackie Chan and Dave Grohl do to the same person in the same night? How did that even play out? Fuck you, Paul McCann. So anyway, he's a sexual deviant. No, he's a paedophile.
Which one? Jeffrey Epstein?
Yes.
Convicted sex offender.
Nah, but see, that's the thing. So he get convicted.
Convicted paedophile.
No, see, I don't know.
Well,
Because
convicted solicitation of a 14-year-old.
of prostitution of a 14-year-old. But like, he never got convicted, I believe,
For shagging them.
for having sex with an underager. But
Just for paying them to have sex.
for soliciting them to have sex with someone else.
Okay. So pimping them out.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but I don't think the law is pimping ain't easy, yo. So, but I mean, essentially, I believe that the crime that he got done for was soliciting a minor for not a minor, no, like Chernobyl.
They were not mining.
And Chernobyl,
Yeah. It was a nuclear power plant.
have you not seen the TV show?
No.
All right. Well, you don't get
I
that
need to watch
reference.
that, yeah.
Aye, definitely, because that reference makes sense. There was definitely fucking minors in that show.
Okay, I apologise.
Also, do you not know anything about the story about fucking Chernobyl?
No, I don't actually. I need to watch it and read up. I meant to watch it this time I've been off, but I haven't got around yet.
Well, I mean, there's no...
Did go to see Spider-Man on Monday.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
Superb.
We'll get to that. We'll in our movie section that we do near the end of the show. So anyway, back to him. So the long short is he's now been held for more being a fucking creep charge. Now, Trump's actually... There's a quote that's came back and bit Trump's arse because essentially he's like, oh, I've known him for a long time, he's a very good man, or I've known him for 15 years or something to that effect. He's a very good man, like nice guy, great guy, best guy, you know what I mean, that type of shit. And he also says, I believe that he's even meant to have more of a love for beautiful women than I do, but he likes him a bit younger.
Yeah.
Dude, you literally just says, maybe it's a paedophile in an interview.
No,
Like,
he likes the ladies. He likes them young.
He likes it. He likes.
Yeah, fucking creepy old cunt.
It's like, you know how I like pretty women? Well, he shags children. What are you talking about? Like, the fuck, dude? You fucking creep. But yeah, there's pictures kicking about of him and Trump on numerous occasions because they're pals. And, you know, remember Trump's mates with the Clintons. And, you know, remember that, people. Just remember that. Anyway, so there's lots of instances of this. Now, the current... Oh, shit. I actually can't remember his name off the top of my head, and I only have it in a voice message. But the current Chief Justice, is it Bill Maher?
The Attorney General you're talking about.
Bill,
his name...
Because it's like Bill Burr. Is it Bill Maher?
It's Bill Barr, I think,
Bill
isn't
Barr.
it? Keep talking.
Yeah, so anyway, it was just because you were just checking out there and I thought I was just up. But anyway, so essentially, I'm sure it's Bill Barr. Bill Barr. It's because I had this problem because every time that I wrote it down, I kept on thinking it was Bill Burr. And I felt really bad about fingering Bill Burr for that.
Bill Barr,
Right.
yes.
So he claimed to have only dealt with him through his financial company, like through his hedge fund. That's actually where he's got his money from. He was a school teacher, then from a school teacher he became a hedge fund investor, then opened up his own hedge fund investment company and was like doing like billions turnover, and that's where he made his cash, right? But so Bill Barr says that he didn't know anything about him and had only dealt with him in a business capacity through dealing with his company. But 35-ish years ago, 40 years ago, Bill Barr's dad gave Epstein his first job as a math teacher.
So he's talking shit.
Well, not only is he talking shit, but see a guy who's a creepy fucking sex offender.
Don't give him a job as a teacher.
No, that's what he say. That's what he say. That's what he say. So, what we've got coming out the woodwork at the present moment, there's a couple of other people, and I'll actually start pointing. There's a good friend of ours, Joe, in the United States at the moment. He's actually covering the story. He's sending me voice messages every day, just like, this fucking story is amazing. Like, he's relatively confident. And, like, he's relatively confident that unless someone can do lots of very, very, very high level PR work, that this is going to be very bad for the Trump presidency, because the amount of people in the Trump cabinet, the Trump office, that are connected to him and stories to do with him. And if this goes federal, obviously everybody's name is going to get dropped in it to make sure that he doesn't go to jail for the next fucking 40 years.
But it would also affect a lot of people within the Democratic Party potentially as well.
It would. But they're not currently sitting as the president of the United States of America or his group. But I mean, like, God, don't get me wrong, a pile of them will get done as well. But it's going to be much easier for the Democrats at the other side of it to recover by axing everybody that's involved and put forward a new group of people than it will be for the Republicans to recover when they're in power when it happens.
And it was a story the last time that Epstein got done that was quite heavily covered in some facets of the British media. Daily Mail, Daily Express in particular, I think, were big on the story of how him and Prince Andrew were very close, and there was a particular girl who was 15 at the time who was trying to bring charges against Prince Andrew for abusing her and stuff, basically. And there was pictures of her and him together with him with his arm round her 15. Jeffrey Epstein's long-term girlfriend is in that picture as well. She's cited in a lot of the stories as basically being like a madam for him, but also being in a relationship with him long-term too. I
mean, there's a lot of like I said, I'm trying to skirt round it to just touch on the political aspects of it, because there's lots of brutal parts to the story. I mean, like I said, essentially there was girls giving these highly prolific men, and I suppose women, but certainly highly prolific men, naked massages, and like I said, being asked to bring other girls into the fold and being taken over to his island and being in his mansion. And essentially the story goes, and from most people who have told it, or most people who have interacted with him, the kind who have interacted with him but not interacted with him, kind of suggest that he was running a fucking sex trafficking ring for fucking very young and underage girls to be made available for very wealthy, high-powered individuals, both in the UK and the US, and probably the rest of the world.
And no doubt probably use that to leverage power.
It's fucking really easy to get an investment into to get people to be smashing money into your fucking hedge fund investment when you know that they're fucking paedophiles. You've got pictures of them.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
That is what they say. So
it's dark, but like I said, there's more. I mean, that's a life story though.
Yeah, that's got to run, and we'll be keeping our eyes on that going forward. So we have Megan Rapinoe. She's the US star footballer who the US women's team have just won the Women's World Cup.
The US women's team is the best female international soccer team in the world as things stand right now.
Yeah, fact.
Now, there's a couple of things. So, do you want to talk about...
Well, I think we should talk about her wee story first of all. So, she, after a first knockout round victory for the US in which she had scored 2 goals, she was asked by an interviewer, if you guys were to win the World Cup, would you go to the White House? And her response was, fuck no. Literally, that's what she said. And this caused a bit of outrage in the right wing of social media. A lot of people giving her a lot of shit about it. Saying it was disrespectful, that she's a role model, etc., etc., etc. And going into the next game against France, I believe it was, in the quarterfinals, she again was the star player. She was booed every time she touched the ball by large sections of the crowd. She still managed to score 2 very good goals, the only goals that the US scored in that game. They won 2-1, and she sort of did a famous pose that was photographed and went around the world. And again, she continued to criticise Trump throughout the campaign. She's garnered a lot of support because of that from certain people in the left wing, by people who would vote against Trump generally.
Don't know me
in the
this,
US.
but I also think she's gay.
She is a lesbian, yeah.
And
openly, outwardly, out. Which is interesting because there's quite a lot of openly lesbian female footballers, and there are literally fucking 0 in the UK openly gay footballers. Which statistically can't possibly be true.
Well, the thing is, it's actually one of the things that I believe gets spoke about in the gay community and stuff like that, is the fact that footballers are terrified more so than not more so than most, but because they're in the public eye and stuff like that, and because their job is, because generally, it's essentially, without being horrible, they don't have a fucking a massive amount of skill set at the other fucking side of it, where they're all going to fucking jump out and start building airplanes and shit like that. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but they also feel that it could potentially be damaging their career. And
that's
stuff.
what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. Because of that, they don't have anything to fall back on, so they're actually too scared for them to come out, because that could just be the end of their career. And
it's a sad state of affairs.
And a 23-year-old man or something like that who doesn't have anything to fall back on and hasn't been getting paid, has been getting a good, very, very good wage, but no been getting millions and stuff like that. You know what I mean? If you're in the middle of the fucking English Premiership or something like that.
So does politics have a place in sport, do you think?
Well, of course. The same way it does in pretty much anyone that's on. The fallacy that you're a movie star, for example, so you don't have the right to say anything. Of course they do. They have the same right as you having the right to tell them they don't have the fucking right to say it. By very definition, what you're saying is fucking absolute hypocrisy. If you're willing to tell someone they don't have the right to, just keep your mouth shut and keep on acting, well, you just keep your mouth shut and keep on whatever the fuck it is you do, and don't tell. You know what I mean? There's a
double standard.
There's a massive double standard that exists where people perceive that because someone is a footballer, because someone is an actress, because someone is a musician, these people don't have an opinion on the fucking way their country's run. Do you know what I mean? And because of the platform that they've got available to them, if they do genuinely believe there is atrocities being committed in any way, shape or form, if they do believe that the country is being ran wrong, they, in my opinion, have more of a reason to stand up because they have more of a voice and they have the ability to present that in a way that people can understand, and they have the ability to give other people a voice who are too scared to present it.
Yeah. I mean, and you can understand why, as a openly lesbian person, you would have issues with the Trump administration when you have people like Mike Pence in there who has repeatedly campaigned against gay rights, who has voted against gay rights many times, and who speaks openly, publicly against gay rights on a regular basis.
When we spoke about British footballers there, if you look at Theresa May and Boris Johnson's records on gay rights votes, both of them missed. Both of them didn't show up to 10 each, I believe, votes on gay rights. Theresa May also voted against 9 times.
And then had the cheek to call herself an ally on Twitter. Yeah,
and Boris has voted twice against gay rights as well. So if the leadership in the UK is so against giving gay people rights, how could a footballer be comfortable? I mean, like, if he doesn't have the support of his government, you know what I mean? Like, if, like, essentially you've got your family, you've got the people who are ruling the country, you've got your friends, and then you've got your fans if you're a football player, do you know what I mean? You've got your club. And if you don't have the support of your elected officials, you know what I mean? If they're not willing to say it's not right for you to treat someone that way, they don't deserve equal rights, then how could you possibly take that risk against people that have no obligation to defend you? Do you know what I mean?
I think the football fans and football in general is quite a homophobic culture, especially in the UK. Like, if you were to look at that culture around soccer in the US, I think it's a lot more wholesome and family orientated and stuff like that, whereas football's known in the UK for offensive chanting, for slagging off opponents for anything that they possibly can, and hooliganism. But certainly I think that it would be an accepted truth that if somebody did come out as gay in the UK, there would be offensive chants from opposition fans towards that player.
Oh, definitely.
Almost guaranteed.
Oh, 100%.
So so that makes it a difficult decision to make, knowing how hurtful that might be. Well, to you as an individual, but past that to your family and friends, your parents, potentially your kids,
your team,
yeah, and your club, team and stuff. Yeah,
you know what I mean. And like I said, if you then feel that you don't have any representation from the people who are in charge of the country, like, I mean, we're like, you just wouldn't. Now, if we go back to the US soccer for a minute, so the other thing that she done was took a knee during the
national anthem. Another person in a Nike tech taking a knee. Nike must be fucking loving that shit. I mean, like, it's like 50% off all American football tops. If you want to go buy some shit and burn it, then
totally flammable. They're flammable. They're dead.
And if not, just ties them in petrol. Like, but please buy them.
Like, at the counter, they're selling Nike lighters. Like, you're fucking morons. Here, take one.
Just
fucking,
do it.
Just do it. Fucking, there's a Nike bin. Go and buy that Nike metal bin. Put that Nike fucking top in it. Use your Nike lighter. Your pelter. Go fucking. Oh, I'll cry all the way to the bank. Fucking assholes.
Yeah, but Colin Kaepernick famously has caused controversy in the US. NFL, big player for a fucking American football team I don't give a fuck about. Let's be honest.
I believe they possibly wear white and red.
Who cares?
I'm sure he's in a white and red top.
He seems like a cool guy though. Like,
yeah, nice afro and that.
Fucking good looking cunt.
Aye man, he's a decent guy.
Yeah, and yeah, he speaks well. Anytime I've heard him speak, I actually really enjoyed seeing. It was the first time that I'd really came across. What do you call the Democratic candidate? He ran in Texas.
Your boy that skateboards.
Yeah.
Can't mind his name right now.
Fuck, that's annoying.
I wasn't expecting this to come up.
We've spoken about him in the podcast before, but he, I'll put the clip up on the accompanying materials for this episode. But he spoke about Colin Kaepernick, and like basically an older guy in the crowd had said, you know, what do you think about sports stars taking the knee? Is it disrespectful to the flag and to the US and to the idea of America and whatever? And he was like, well, no, like actually that's exactly what America stands for, is freedom of expression, and that includes deciding to fucking take a knee and not respect the national anthem, because that's your right as an American. That's the freedom that they've fought and died to defend.
But remember, it doesn't work that way, Jerry. Freedom of speech only exists in the event you're saying the thing that they want you to hear.
Yeah.
Now, off the back of all of this, two things happened. So first and foremost, with the women's football, there was a discussion about equal pay.
Yeah.
Now, in the US, as it turns out, and it might just be because of the World Cup and stuff like that, but in the US, women's football or women's soccer generates more ticket sales and more airtime, according to a recent BBC article, than men's soccer.
Beto O'Rourke.
Indeed.
Sorry.
But than men's soccer.
It's generating more revenue.
More ticket sales and more TV watching time, which is what we use in the UK to determine revenue.
Okay, yeah, but is it ticket sales at a fiver, or is it ticket sales at the full price of a men's game?
Well, I mean, I don't know how much. I actually have zero reference for how much it costs for a ticket for either of the two of them.
Well, I know that the tickets for the World Cup in France were considerably cheaper than a ticket for like the regular World Cup or a ticket for a Premier League game in England or whatever.
Now I know, but all these things don't match up. Like, I would expect that a World Cup ticket, I mean, the World Cup and the men's soccer World
Did I
Cup.
say a normal World Cup there?
I think so.
That's really awful.
As opposed to an abnormal womany one.
Just like, yeah,
Lady
sorry,
Cup.
I apologise.
I had a great joke there, but it'll die anyway, so it'll not work. But the thing is, at that point, you're paying for, in the soccer world, you're paying for some of the most widely known, renowned, greatest players in the entire world that you're going to see.
Yeah, but if it's an argument about equal pay, right? The market dictates the pay.
Well, I absolutely agree. And the problem you're going to have is like we were speaking about off air.
If there's more revenue being generated by the women's game, then women footballers deserve to be paid more. If there's less, they deserve to be paid less. Purely from a capitalist standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, so even if you do ticket sales and TV watching revenue, right, that becomes completely irrelevant if you take someone like the shirt sales of David Beckham when he was at Hollywood Bank Heist or whatever the fuck they were called.
Well, it's also relevant if they're selling more tickets, but the tickets are like a fraction of the price.
Oh no, but what I mean is if even I take out the tickets and everything out, there's definitely players that come across to America who purely on their shirt sales alone are generating more income than like fucking their entire team is for ticket sales in like a year. Do you know what I mean?
And there's actually there's not equality of pay
amongst football players.
No, yeah.
Far from it.
Yeah, if you're playing for fucking St Johnstone, you could be on 800 quid a week. If you're playing for fucking Man United, you could be on 250 grand a week.
And the thing is, if you're playing for St Johnstone first team every single week, you can be 800 quid. And if you're playing on the fucking third team for fucking Barcelona, you'll be making like 8 times that. You know what I mean? Like, so there is a massive pay disparity between them. And then on top of that, you do have other components like for example, a known thing, and it'll come up, so we as well talking about it. The the US international women's team played under 15s Dallas boys team and got beaten 5-4, 5-3, something in that region, because there's more investment across the entire line for men's soccer, and there has been for longer. And it just, like, I mean, women getting into soccer are few and far between still across the world in the grand scheme of things, in terms of...
I mean, this tournament will hopefully inspire a lot more people.
Well, it is getting better. But it's still few and far between in the grand scheme of things. Whereas you've got young guys playing soccer from 2 and 3 and right up through.
Yeah, and also, like, the men's game didn't start with them getting paid, with players getting paid $200,000 a fucking week. That's something that's gradually increased and happened as the games get more popular and as they've produced more revenue. And
also, even realistically, for most of the wages and the level of wages that we're talking about, for the most part, it's only really existed in our lifetime, like as in our lifetime. Like, football players have only been getting paid, or soccer players have only really been getting paid astronomical wages for like the last 25, 30 years. You know what I mean? 90s. Like, essentially, before that, they got a good wage, but that's all they got. You know what I mean? They got a good wage. Certainly, if you actually were to take, start of the 90s type wages genetically across the whole of the UK, and you were to then look at where soccer had existed for a long time, and then you were to look at what women are getting paid in the US now, even in fixing for inflation, you'd probably find that, most of the higher up teams are getting paid more than the guys were getting paid in the 90s.
And it's the TV money that's ultimately inflated the wages.
It is. And the other thing as well is, one of the problems you've got is, if you've got a guy who owns a baseball team and an American football team and a hockey team who's now bought a soccer team, and he's investing a bazillion amount of... I'm just trying to make up a fancy sounding number. But essentially, if he's investing tons and tons and tons of money into this football team, it might be perceived that you should certainly be getting paid the same as if you're the star player for the team, you should be getting paid the same as the star quarterback or the star fucking baseball player, you know what I mean? But it's a sport in America, certainly it's still in its infancy, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it doesn't have it's not generating anywhere near the revenue that the NFL or the NHL or the NBA or the NBA.
Yeah, well, that's the
NBA. No, what's the
basketball,
baseball one? Who cares?
Fucking fucking rounders.
Yeah.
Fucking some kind of fucking diamond shaped cricket shit.
And cricket is pish.
Oh, so my boss, like my old boss, about 3 jobs ago, used to say to me, "Cricket.
I don't like cricket."
Well, pretty much he was like,
"I love
cricket.
Cricket
can't be a sport because any sport that you can wear a jumper in isn't a sport."
Any sport that you can play for 5 days and still finishes a draw is not worth my time.
Or like a really thick jumper, right? In India.
Yeah, it's not right, is it?
No, I mean, like, that's like a sweaty wool jumper that you're wearing for 5 days in India.
I think they wear wool jumpers in India, though. They wear like wee t-shirts.
And other wool jumpers.
Wee cricket whites.
Wee dainty white t-shirts. Under the white. It's fucking
play,
garbage.
By the way, and all
it's just, and I know Billy, right? Billy obviously plays for Scotland or whatever. Is he Bill? David Bill? Billy? I've just fucking gave his whole name out on that fucking podcast.
No. Well, he plays for Scotland, so I'm sure they could find out. I don't know who you're talking about.
You're like Murdoch's mate Billy for school.
I'm glad that I don't know him because he plays cricket.
He does. He's quite good at it.
Fuck him.
But you also you wear like
Scottish guy who plays cricket, not to be trusted.
Not to be trusted. I mean, I'm saying that about Bill anyway. But I saw jumpers and hats and like sunglasses,
an identity crisis, that
nose
cunt.
cream and fucking knee pads that go right up to your thighs and all that, and fucking throwing a.
Actually know a couple of guys who play cricket. Bobby, I'm sorry, but what you doing?
Sorry.
What you doing, mate?
Like throwing a really heavy red ball at a tiny wee bit of wood behind a guy, like. And that's how I feel about baseball as well, Americans.
Yeah, baseball's shit.
Like,
I'd probably rather watch baseball than cricket, though.
And you say that, but have you ever actually sat and watched any amount of baseball? No. Nah. See, it's all right for the first, like, it's like cricket. See the first time somebody throws a ball and somebody tries to hit it, it's alright. See every time after that, it's no. Pretty much the exact same as baseball.
It's just such a stupid fucking game. Like,
what, baseball?
no, look, cricket. At least baseball, right? I don't understand that either.
What's your
to be honest.
favourite? What's your favourite shite sport?
What do you mean?
Like, what's your favourite? I was going to say non-legitimate sport.
Tennis, probably.
Tennis is like your like.
Not football.
Not football. Well, not like not.
Like, I don't have any interest in Formula 1 in the slightest. It's just Skeletrics. I've got Skeletrics in my loft. I could get them out if I really wanted to watch that.
It's just like I like golf. To play.
Yeah.
Not really into watching it.
I actually would rather watch it than play it. I've been to watch it a few times. It was alright. You could have a drink and stuff and wander about. It was
You
good.
never drink and wander about when you're playing golf.
What? Well, true, yeah. So it's not a fucking sport, and you can also wear a jumper.
Aye.
So it's not a sport.
Well, I mean, like I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's your favourite non-sport. It's probably, see, in all honesty, see if you went like shinty. Fuck me, shinty's some sport.
That's athletic shit, and you get battered fucking.
You get barred. I know, but nobody really knows what shinty is. Like right now, if there's anybody listening from
It's
anywhere,
like hurling, isn't it?
it's
Like Scottish hurling.
and it's something Irish as well. Like it's Irish play shinty as well.
No, they play hurling.
Sort of same, isn't it? But I mean, it's kind of similar to like the closest thing America's probably got to it is like lacrosse, but lacrosse is a bit.
They've got a net and that. And lacrosse came for the Indians.
I know, but what I mean is it's
The Native Americans. Fuck me, I'm doing well tonight, and I.
fucking hell. Do you want to throw some other ones in as well? Jerry, take off that lampshade and the tape at the side of your eyes.
Fuck off, man.
No, but lacrosse is probably the closest big sport in America to shinty. I mean, like, it's kind of similar. There's a ball, there's sticks, you throw at each other. The guy who's in the goals is a brave motherfucker.
But you can also knock it along the ground like hockey, but you can't do that with lacrosse because you just catch it in that wee net, don't you?
Aye, and the other thing is,
You could be violent in lacrosse as well, though.
aye, but no like shinty violent.
No.
Shinty is one of the most terrifying things that I've ever watched. Like, there's a guy taking a ball that I'm pretty certain is made of just like fucking
Concrete.
lead, aye, and he's fucking hitting it with a bat made out of solid oak at you at about 300 miles an hour, and your choices are don't let that go in the goals.
They just rattle each other with the fucking stick sometimes as well.
Aye, and I mean, I'm sure I've seen a statistic about how fast that they hit that fucking concrete ball. That
Yeah.
poor goalkeeper's got like no teeth and all that, and like broken.
And they don't even. It's not like they have hunters of
They've got
protection
pads.
like in.
It's not like lacrosse.
Yeah.
It's not like
Or
it's
ice
like
hockey or
aye,
that.
or like American football. There's none of that shit. It's just like fucking burly men with sticks and a ball made of death.
on then.
Fucking hitting each other until somebody scores.
Another fake
Classic-
newscast
classic
coming at you with a
shit.
facts.
Welcome to Shinty
I
Chat.
think the red and white
Another
stripes.
shitty podcast.
No, it's a Shinty
Blues.
podcast
It was.
tonight.
That's
So,
where
and
British
then on the
flag
last
was.
bit about
And that was the flag
Nike and you know that kind of
East
stuff,
India
is
Trading
obviously
Company.
the Betsy Ross flag Nike trainers. Essentially,
check
white
that out.
supremacist
Because
groups that
I
use the Betsy Ross flag.
believe
For those
even
who aren't
further
aware,
than that,
the
that
Betsy
see
Ross
the
flag is
day
the original,
the,
is the precursor to the Stars and Stripes. It's essentially blue
Declaration
background,
of Independence
white
was
circle,
signed.
stars, red and white
You're
stripes.
right.
Yeah, I thought so. Because see the day the Declaration of Independence was signed, I believe that was the day that the East India Company dissolved.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Because, as I understand it, and you can check that, but as I understand it, the East India Company was a big financial component to funding the Revolutionary War. Then, like, because they were being taxed. It was them. Like, you know how the Boston Tea Party. Now, like the tea sitting in the dock was being taxed
1858. That it was dissolved. So
Was it?
that's
Interesting.
way different.
because. Interesting. Anyway, this is a for an off-topic thing because it was some stuff I was reading because it was to do with like one of the big components, like the taxation and stuff like that. One of the people who were getting hit hard was East India Trading Company. So it was within their interest to be able to trade to the US colony without the imperialistic yoke of the UK standing over the top of them, taxing them for their tea sitting in the boats and shit.
Yeah.
Essentially there's a lot of intermingled components between the creation of the US and who was involved and people involved in East India Trading Company and that type of stuff, because it was beneficial from them. Imagine, like, essentially the US was founded on top of a large faceless corporation who wanted to make more money and pay less tax, which means that they've kept themselves consistent for about 350 years. But anyway, that's for a different time. But yeah, so essentially, I believe it was the amount of states that were there, and that's why I shared it in that. And it's a variation of the East India Trading Company flag.
That is, I'm gonna have to look more into that flag stuff. There's something in that, something to be learned,
there was some interesting stuff. So anyway, the reason I was getting to all that is they had put it on the back of their night shoes that they were releasing on the 4th of July.
Awful looking shoes, by the way.
Horrid looking things. And essentially there was a bit of outcry because
burn well though. They burn
real well. Night Burnwells, that's what they're called. You got a new pair of Night Burnwells. So anyway, it turns out there's some white supremacy groups that use the original American flag as their logo, as their flag.
Like in the same way they use a Confederate flag and stuff.
In the same way, they primarily like losers' flags. Right? So there was a bit of an outcry. So Nike just pulled the whole fucking range and didn't sell them on the 4th of July.
Colin Kaepernick had sort of said
it was him who specifically who went out on Twitter and pointed out that, like, white supremacy groups use that.
So you probably shouldn't.
Fucking bad taste. Do you remember the whole just do it, meanie advert, kneeling shit, me too, all that shit? You remember all that type of stuff, Black Lives Matter and stuff? It was like last week or something. Sure, you haven't managed to forget it that quickly.
That's a real marketing faux pas, though, is it not? To be like, oh yeah, we're going to make these. Ah, fuck, are they racist? Bollocks.
Is it?
Well, I mean, we're talking about it, so no.
Exactly. I mean, like, maybe...
Are we just being played all the time?
Yeah, man, like, it's just, I mean, like, in actual terms, like, see if Nike...
Give him some of this. Give the fucking cunt some of this shit to talk about.
See if Nike had
all
made...
that stuff's going on over here. They'll not be paying attention to that.
See if Nike made 1 billion trainers... They would only have 500 million pairs. No, see if they say that's a stereophonic song. Anyway, no, but see if they made 1 billion pairs of trainers, they wouldn't have just fucking pulped them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they
like,
just put up a picture of one.
They made one.
You should have made that. Oh, we won't then.
Yeah, okay, we won't, and we'll not sell them tomorrow. But we're going to sell them, and they're definitely in all our stores. So. But we won't. They're fucking horrible as well. They're fucking absolutely rank rotten. They're like red in the sides.
If you want to buy us all your stuff and burn it, then go ahead.
You should buy our stuff with retail outlets all across the US.
Buying something to burn it on camera to prove a point is one of the stupidest things
I don't know
I've ever heard in my life.
One of my favourite things is to see right wing. Not racists, right-wing homophobes, purchasing a pride flag made in China and then buying it. So they have taken their money, they have given it to a person who's gave their money to China, so they can then own a pride flag that they didn't own before and then burn it. Like, you're the reason that capitalism is failing. Like, you are the right there. You are the absolute reason. Interestingly, before we go into our last one, and it's only because what I just said there, I seen a statistic regarding the amount of money that leaves the US a year to foreign lands, essentially by people who take money out the country.
Right.
And it's some staggering amount of money, something like 86 billion quid or something like that.
That doesn't seem that much, to be honest.
I mean, like, it's like 86 billion. It's what goes out the country every year to India, like to China, like from people who are getting paid in the US and transferring their money across.
To China specifically, or to other countries as well?
To other countries. However,
86 billion doesn't seem that much.
I mean, it's still quite a lot of money that's leaving the country every year.
Don't get me wrong, I'll have it.
I mean, it's literally...
If it's gone.
It's literally every 10 years, like nearly a trillion leaving the country.
But I would expect, I don't know, I'm being daft. I would expect more than that to leave the country every year.
The US spends overseas 265 billion. Consumers, not the US as a country, but consumers in the US buy outside the country 265 billion quid's worth of stuff.
So that's way more.
Yeah, but exactly. So I mean, but the statistic was put up as
it's just transferring cash out. You mean?
Yes.
Right.
So essentially, you know, man gets job in New York, man gets paid, man uses the small amount of money that he has to survive and takes the rest and sends it back to family in, like I said, India or Poland or the other classic places that people claim that this happens for. But if you actually look at the numbers, if you look at the amount of money that leaves the US just through foreign purchases, people buying off you like fucking Alibaba.com and like fucking out with Amazon and stuff like that, do you know what I mean? And the thing is as well, that's actually probably not that accurate because Amazon will probably count as a US purchase even though it's coming from all over the place.
Made in China.
But it's like essentially 3 times, nearly 4 times the amount is just getting sent over to other countries by American people who are purchasing things out with the country anyway. So it becomes but it was used as a shock, like this is the amount of money that's leaving every year, just and it's getting moved, but it doesn't matter if you're spending 3 times that just sitting on your fucking arse like in your house watching Super Bowl on TV or doing shit on your iPad. So it then becomes an irrelevant figure. I just thought I should mention that because I was talking about money leaving the country and I hadn't seen it the other day.
Interesting.
So let's talk about our last subject of the evening.
The steaming Waxy Lemon.
That pelter.
So he's now begging on InfoWars for Donald Trump to grant him refugee or asylum seeker status to the US, claiming that he's been politically persecuted, that he is now facing a lengthy jail sentence in prisons which in his words are ran by jihadis. It's a conspiracy.
Ran by jihadi gangs.
Yeah. It's a conspiracy to jail him. It's a conspiracy by the establishment in the UK to silence him. Because of free speech.
Because of free speech.
Because of free speech. And yeah, that's where we're at. So now, Tommy Robinson, who told young male Syrian refugees that they should stay at home and fight for their country, he's trying to run away to another country.
And to put this into perspective, he first pleaded guilty to committing the crime that he knows he committed, and he is going to be put in a jail surrounded by lots of other people of various nationalities and, you know, prison guards and police, right? And he told Syrian males that they should stay in their country and fight ISIS and a plethora of other heavily armed militaries from around the world using like drones and M16s and AK-47s and fighter jets and tanks. There may be.
Why is this young English patriot trying to flee the country that he loves so much?
Why would an English patriot not be willing to face up to the justice being served to him for committing a crime under British law?
Yeah, it's not like it's Sharia law.
No, it's definitely British law.
Even though there's hundreds of Sharia law here now.
Everywhere.
And there's no-go zones.
If it makes him feel any better, if it was Sharia law, they'd probably get like stoned to death for that. Or like cut up and put in a suitcase or some shit.
I'd be in favour of that. Oh, is that too much?
Nah, I don't think so. But yeah, so he pleaded to Donald Trump for his family's sake.
I beg Donald Trump. I
Beg.
beg the American government to look at my case. I need evacuation from this country because dark forces are at work. Went a bit Star Wars there, didn't I?
I automatically thought Harry Potter.
I've never seen any of them. This is a direct appeal on behalf of my family. We love the United States. I have no future here. He claimed that he would be killed in jail and said that British prisons are controlled by jihadi gangs.
Controlled. But not by the government. Unless he's saying the Tories are a jihadi gang.
Like Justice Secretary Rory Stewart should probably get involved if that's the case.
We should discuss this with him. I like the fact that he says we love the United States, and I'd take a stab in the dark, although I can't be sure that his current rap sheet means that he's probably not allowed into the fucking United States anyway.
Yeah, like he's travelled under false passports and shit.
I mean, because he's travelled under false passports. He's been done for assault of a police officer. He's been done for various other forms of assault and football hooliganism. And he's been done for various forms of fraud. Fuck me, man. Like, there's absolutely, like, even if he wasn't gone to jail, it'd be hard pushed to get fucking. He's wanting to get asylum. It'd be hard pushed to get fucking 2 weeks off Thomas Cook. You know what I mean?
So basically, he was found in contempt in 3 respects. He was in contempt of court. High Court judges Victoria Sharp and Mr. Justice Warby. They found him in contempt for breaching the report.
Is his name Justice Warby? Because it's like Mr. Justice Warby.
Justice will be a title, I imagine, isn't it?
Like,
either that or it's nominative determinism.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Because if it's Mr. Justice,
he's been called Justice, and then he's ended up as.
Because surely you would drop the Mr. if you were just Justice.
So he breached the reporting restriction imposed on the trial. He was found in contempt for live streaming the video outside the public entrance to the court and for aggressively confronting and filming some of the defendants. So yeah,
he pleaded guilty to that.
He's expected to be sentenced on Thursday, which is tomorrow, right? Yep. And it will carry a maximum sentence of 2 years. So he might not even get a fucking prison sentence. I'd suggest he deserves one because he keeps doing shit he's been told not to fucking do.
And he admitted to doing it.
Yeah.
Like,
He's trying to make himself a martyr.
He should try harder.
Yeah. Like, go full Joan of Arc, mate.
I mean, I should read the big book of martyrs and see if he gets any ideas.
Anyway, come at the house. Fucking film us and fight us if you want. Tommy.
From America?
Well, whatever. He'll not get into America. Although, do you know what? Donald Trump would probably quite happily take him if he could.
Probably, but like I said, I can't imagine he's allowed into America with the current convictions he's got to his name.
Donald, pardon him.
I don't know if he can pardon foreign folk.
He'll try.
See if he can pardon him. I would believe that a certain paedophile that owned a fucking private plane is probably going to find himself pardoned.
George Nader? Oh no, Jeffrey Epstein.
No, George
it's hard
Nader.
When I say up with the paedophiles that Donald Trump hands about with.
I know one's a convicted paedophile.
One's
the other one's a convicted sex offender.
Sorry.
That's how you tell them apart.
Right, no bother. Got that now.
And Bill Clinton's a sexual deviant.
Debatable. Wee cigar up the pussy.
Aye. And Chris Tucker's just there for comedy value.
Just there for the high pitched voice.
Just there telling jokes that were totally relevant in the mid to late 90s. And playing a role in a ninja film. Not ninja, you know what I mean. Rush Hour films are actually pretty good. I might rewatch a Rush Hour. Is that why you were talking with Jackie Chan?
Yeah.
Right.
Surely that's Chris Tucker's most famous role. That and The Fifth Element.
No, but I never thought about Chris Tucker movies when you were saying it. I just thought you had chose out of all the fucking TV stars in the world.
Oh really? Jackie Chan's
I just thought thought that was just your thought of the day.
That was my takeaway thought. Just
I hope Jackie Chan's not a pedo. You know what I mean? Like sometimes. See, that's who we should round off. We should round off with who else we hope is not a pedo.
Who else we hope isn't a pedo?
2019. Worrying, like, can't you think of anyone? Anyone I do think is like, they're probably a pedo.
Well, like, yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. I hope he's not. I mean, I'm literally now just choosing people who are almost certainly are. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not even that I want to be.
I would be disappointed if he was.
So would I, but I wouldn't be overly shocked.
I would. I'd be annoyed with Mark Ruffalo if he was.
There's no way Mark Ruffalo is.
Nah, he's too nice, isn't he? Who else?
Is this actually what we're doing at the end of the podcast?
Decided who's too nice to be a pedo.
Decide who in Hollywood is too nice to be a sex offender.
Who do we think's definitely a pedo?
I welcome your libel corner. Kevin Spacey.
Aye, probably, yeah. But somebody who's not been fingered for sexual
sentence will never not be funny.
for sex crimes as yet. Oh, Milo.
100%. In fact,
not the Scottish DJ guy, the other one.
No, like that was a terrible fucking impression of fucking fast cars there.
Yeah, that guy.
It's not even called fast cars, it's muscle cars.
Yeah, I knew who you meant.
Destroy Rock and Roll. Listen to that album. A big shout out to Milo.
Listen to that song. That's good.
I was just listening to the whole album.
Destroy Rock and Roll's a good song.
Oh, see the track. What's the pressure?
Motherfucker's gonna crack the pressure or talking the pressure. Yeah, but I like the. He's like, Duran. It's like it's the like preacher guy giving the whole spiel of like bands who have.
People have downloaded this podcast, right? They have listened to us ramble on through fucking madness to do with fucking sex offenders. You've thrown out definitely at least one sexist and one kind of racist statement, and then we fucking spoke about Shinty, right? And then we done who do you hope isn't a pedo? And
who do you think's definitely a pedo?
Then you done that, and we didn't really have any answers.
Milo Yiannopoulos.
Oh, aye, definitely.
Pedo.
Definitely. And then
Jordan Peterson.
See, I don't think he is. I think he's just really, really, really wanting Shaggy's female cousin.
Yeah. She was like too attractive.
She was. Did it not say something like she was?
Wasn't good for her.
She was too attractive and wouldn't he shag me? Does it no? Like, I'm sure he fucking wants to kidnap her as well. He's a fucking creep. On record for that. That's like one of those official
Michael
lines.
Gove.
You think so? You playing Choose a Tory?
I was trying.
We love Tory.
I was going for the weirdest looking one.
Oh, I see. The thing is, so your boy looks like William Dafoe.
I don't think Rory Stewart's a pedo, is he?
No, but he's a weirdest looking one.
Maybe he is a pedo. Are you a pedo, Rory?
Are you listening
Were
to
you
this?
walking around Afghanistan looking for Waynes?
Wait. My editing for this is going to be tough.
Leave it all in. For the purposes of any potential legal proceedings, we would like to state that this was all for
This is a comedy
effect,
podcast. Yeah, this is a comedy
and
podcast.
that we do not believe Rory Stewart to be a paedophile to the best of our knowledge.
Or Michael Gove.
Or Jordan Peterson. Maybe Milo.
I mean, Milo's kind of alluded to it before. It's no really, it's not really much of a shit. And Kevin Spacey definitely is.
Yeah, so that's where we stand on paedophilia and those guys. If you've got any other potential pedos you'd like us to discuss, please hit us up at info@notanotherfakenewscast.com. I think we're pretty much at the end of this for
I bet Tommy Robinson doesn't have any, and I bet if he does have any, they'll have names that sound like Mohammed, because that's generally the only people that he goes after when he feels that he's looking for a paedophile, because he doesn't ever care about, like, you know,
the ones who are members of the political organisation he founded.
The other ones, like his mates and that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the end of the podcast. You could probably tell that about fucking a solid 25 minutes ago.
Half ago.
Probably, I'm just like, ooh.
But we're back, right? So that's the main thing.
Guess who's back? Back again.
We
Us.
are.
That's how we say
Tell her, mate.
I tell them, mate.
And please leave us a positive review on iTunes. It helps our numbers.
See, honestly, see if you have sat through this episode, fucking you go give us a positive review, because I will give you one back, because you fucking deserve
You
it.
deserve it.
High fives all
Deserve it.
round.
You're a trooper.
You are a fucking star, and we love you. And
You're
fucking,
a starship trooper.
you are, and we're proud of you.
You're a super trooper.
You just fucking keep on smashing it today. Well done. That's a few positive messages I'd put in at the end, just to make people happy.
Yeah. And don't you worry so much about what other people think.
You know what?
You're a good person.
You are a good person, and we love you.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I love you.
Yeah.
Jerry's dead inside.
I love calling people pedos. That's the only thing that brings me joy.
Brutal. So anyway, like we said at the start of the show, you can get us at PGMcast on Facebook and Twitter. You can drop us an email at info@notanotherfakenewscast.com. You can go to our website,
www.notanotherfakenewscast.com,
and you can get us on Patreon,
which is www.patreon.com/PGMcast.
and you can get us like our places as well. Like we're talking about YouTube and Reddit and all that shit. We're pretty much fucking everywhere. We're on Spotify, but I don't even
Wishy.
think we're on Wishy. Doing the commie. if you fancy a pint. If you fancy buying us a pint, that'd be even better than if you fancy a pint.
Yeah. Oh, we have, what's that thing, Ko-fi or something like that?
Oh, we've got coffee.
Ko-fi.
Which, by the way, they should call
That's
it.
what they should call it, yeah.
You can chuck us a buck and buy us a coffee.
Yeah.
All proceeds go to coffee. Me and Jerry drink quite a lot of coffee. And finally, we're playing the Byline Festival on the Sunday at 6 o'clock in the Data Dome.
Not on the Data Dome.
As I alluded to in the previous episode, just in the Data Dome. It's a dome. We will be within it, like hiding amongst the marshmallow of a Tunnocks tea cake.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah.
But it's like we'll have eaten out a space for us to exist in.
I'm not going to lie, I'll probably be like eating a fucking crepe, smoke a fag. Like,
I don't like Tunnocks tea cakes.
or crepes or cigarettes.
Or actually anything that Tunnocks make, because they donated quite a lot of money and threw their weight behind the Better Together campaign, so they can go fuck themselves.
Doesn't really change the wondrous caramel log though, does it?
I do like a caramel log.
I mean,
But I've only eaten one since September 2014.
decent though.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Did it make you feel dirty?
Little.
A dirty log.
Yeah. Caramel wafers aren't bad either, but it was the caramel.
It was a caramel battle pack.
The log's my favourite, definitely, and it was the one that drew me back in. I had a wee cheeky one against my better judgment. I also stopped drinking Balvenie for ages because it turns out they fucking donated a lot, but it's really good whiskey, so sometimes
I mean, you say for ages, right? But see if you think about how long it's been since then, and how many bottles of Balvenie you realistically could have drank in that time without making you a fucking pisshead. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, thanks a lot for listening, guys.
Peace.